Well, we were talking about marriage the other podcast. So here in 2 Corinthians 6, it says about, wherefore come up among you and be separate, says the Lord, and touch not the unclean thing, and I will receive you. I will be a father, and you shall be my sons and daughters. That's what a desire of all ages is, to be children of God, because of the assurance of salvation, the assurance of eternal life, you might say, rather than this life. A lot of people live for this life, which I understand. But the thing about it is unless we have an assurance of salvation, of eternal life, there really isn't anything else to live for, because this world doesn't bring much joy and happiness in it. But the Amish, they start dating when they're like 17, 8 years old. They start going to, we didn't have much Rumspringa because we were pretty conservative, and you could start dating at 17, 18 years old, and normally most of them get married about around 20, 21. It's a good age to get married. Most where I came from, they like to have a little money saved up, maybe even a place bought. And I've heard a lot of people say, well, you Amish take care of each other. When you get married, you'll get the farm or whatever. But that's not the case. You got to work for everything you get.
And they're going to have a hard time giving each kid a farm if they got 8 of them.
Oh, yeah, real hard.
You got 8 kids, you can't give them each a farm.
Oh, yeah. No.
You got to let them know.
No. And they stack them on top of each other. You'll see Grandpa, Grandma living there, and then you'll see Dad and Mom, then a couple of the kids living there, 3, 4 houses on some of these farms. And they got to figure out ways to make a living off them farms. They got a way to produce enough income to support all those people. A lot of people think that Amish have a lot of money. They don't. They're just, well, some do, but a lot of them are just, they're just struggling to survive. They're survivors. They work.
If you think about it, English, we pay for internet, we pay for
TV,
car insurance, car payment, we got, TVs, like you said.
Yeah.
We can pay for a lot extra. People don't want to think that way because they think it's unfair,
Right.
But in truth, you don't need a whole lot of money to survive.
No, you don't need a lot of money to
survive.
survive.
A lot of people think they put things like internet and
dish,
TV and all that.
Oh yeah.
Same thing as rent and all that. When in reality, you can turn the electric off.
Oh yeah.
All day, and you only need to shower for maybe a minute or two.
Absolutely.
Shoot, people spend a lot of extra money just what would be considered luxury at this point.
Right. Just like I was up at Brazil the other day, and the Porcelain Mennonites up there are very industrious. They got a lot of greenhouses and turkey barns, and just all kinds of big buildings, Big, but that all that stuff costs money to build, and they got to pay for it. A lot of stores. Yeah, we got to the Dutch market. That thing expanded in the last few years. Got a lot bigger up there. They got a regular big road going in there now, but they got their fresh produce is amazing there. They got all kinds of tomatoes and all kinds of fresh produce there. Lettuce, you name it. Good place to get stuff to eat, that's for sure.
You were saying the other day that you heard that they were selling land up in Ohio.
Oh yeah.
For crazy amounts because they don't want to.
They want to move out.
So
they don't want to separate. Because you can't, when you're driving a horse and buggy, you can't move very far from Dad and Mom. So this one guy had bought, 5 years ago, he bought 60 acres for $20,000 an acre. So anyway, then he sold it lately he divided it in 3 tracts for, 3 20-acre tracts for 3 young Amish guys. And he got $60,000, made $40,000 an acre. That's pretty good money, Pretty good real estate. But you can't do that everywhere. It's kind of almost like California in some of them places. They're just pockets like that.
Right.
Where there's a lot of Amish, there's pockets. Just like they're in Snyder County where I was born. They say that that's the Golden Triangle because all the horse and buggy Mennonites, they just pay whatever they have to get the land, keep their businesses running, Their shops, little welding shops and little pallet shops, sawmills, and all kinds of stuff. Produce places and orchards. They're very industrious in there. They're very productive.
Right. And then, in reality, probably the most expensive thing they got besides land is probably horses. and mules and stuff to work. Which I've seen a lot of Amish up in Michigan and stuff. They got skid steers, tractors.
Oh, you don't have many tractors. They have skid steers.
They got a few, yeah.
There might be a few have tractors, but see, the thing about it, you have to understand, like, and I've understood this for years and years and years and years and years. They used to have that made their Otnum, their ordinal. And we'd have ordinance man. We'd sit for, it could go till, if there was a lot of things to discuss, it could go till 9, 10 o'clock at night sometimes, all day. Start at 9 o'clock in the morning and go till 9, 10 o'clock at night, sometimes even later.
Just trying to decide what
was legal and what wasn't, what was going to be productive, as far as keeping them separated from the world, and what wasn't. And
now, what would be the difference between like a tractor and a skid steer?
Well, see here, I'll tell you.
More advanced than a tractor is.
No, you don't understand. You don't understand the way to think. See, as soon as you let an Amishman touch a steering wheel, that's associated with a car. That's speed. And so we could have forklifts in a pallet shop as long as it didn't have a steering wheel on it. We could have it with same as a skid it could skid just like a skid steer, but we couldn't put a steering wheel on it. We couldn't have wheels that turn,
So they invented a tractor with some levers.
Yeah, if they invent a tractor with levers, they could have tractors, But you can't have a steering wheel. Steering wheel is forbidden. Ist verboten. Yeah, so it's verflucht.
Well, I don't know.
But that's what I'm talking about. That's a separation.
Yeah.
It's called a separation between the world.
I get that, but there's still a lot of technology and all that stuff,
Oh, I know.
Even in like, you go for a buggy, for example. It's not. I mean, it's modern, it's not as modern as a lot of stuff we have, but it's not exactly Stone Age.
Oh no, it's not Stone Age.
And even if you went back to Stone Age stuff, you're still not necessarily separated yourself from the world.
No, I know. But it's just what they're trying to do is they're trying to make it so that they can't get, if you get a car, then it's easy to go to the town and go to, but it's all, see, the problem is, and what I seen, salvation is a hard issue. It's not a outward issue. So as long as your members are not converted, are not turned away from the world in the heart, then you're always going to go after these things, and it doesn't matter how many steering wheels you take out of your life, or,
Right, you're still part of the world.
It's still part of the world. Your heart isn't there, even if they take the steering wheel away from you.
That's like Jesus was saying, you got to be born again. You got to be like a child.
Yeah.
But
anyways, I was going to talk a little bit about, I don't know, I was just talking about my cousins coming to Curryville, finding people to get married to, And I was thinking about Amish weddings, They have what they call, there's two other couples on each side of the family. There's like a groomsman and a bridesmaid. And anyways, they have a preacher gets up and preaches a short sermon, and then it's a lot just like any other wedding, except the bishop does a lot of, like Isaac and Rebecca, he talks a lot about Ruth, the book of Ruth. And all of that, the bishop goes through all that, and then when they get toward the end, just before they marry you, they take the Tobit, which is an old story about a guy in Nineveh. It was a Jew that was there burying the dead, and it's not in the Bible, but it's they call it the Apocryphische, or that's the German word for it. I don't know what the English word, but it's the book of Tobit. They take that, and Tobit was a real pious man, and he would go out and bury the dead, but he had been big in politics at one time, and so somebody gave him a lot of money, and Media or whatever, he had put the money in a friend's hands. And then he got blind, and then he was praying that God would take his life, and there was a girl partway over there named Sarah, and she had 7 husbands, and every time at the wedding night, when she was a real pious Jew too, but a demon would go and kill her husband. Every time she would marry a husband, and at night before he could lay with her, well, he would kill her. The demon would. So she had 7 husbands, and anyways, on the way over, then God seen these two people that needed help, so he sent Raphael, his angel, down to help them out. Anyway, they start preaching about this book of Tobit before they marry people, and then they would go through the whole story of Tobit. And as soon as, like one of my cousins said, they'd be in there having a long wedding sermon, and they would say, well, where are they at? Well, they're starting to chase Tobit around the bush, and then we'd know it's pretty soon over with, Mm-hmm. But anyways, this angel takes young Tobias over there, and then he catches a fish out of the Tigris River, and the angel tells him to take the heart and the gall or something out, and then he tells him about Sarah, that he's going to marry her, mm-hmm. that God provided her, that's going to be his wife. So, but he says to save that, and then there was another part of the fish to put on his dad's eye when he gets back to take his blindness away. But anyways, they go, and they come to Sarah's house, and Sarah's dad and mom were really scared of this, because, they heard about Tobit already, and this is his son, and he's a well-known Jew, so he's legal to marry Sarah, she was a Jew too. But anyways, the angel assured him that this is God's plan, and so they went out and dug a grave for him. After the wedding, the parents went out and dug another grave because they figured he's going to be dead the next morning. But anyways, this demon, Armas or something like that, the name of the demon, come, and then he burnt that fish gall and liver, and it drove the demon out, and then the angel took the demon and cast him away out of the country. So the next morning he was still alive. So anyways, he went and got the money, and the angel took him back, and there was great rejoicing in Tobit's house, and then Tobit's sight was restored, and then anyways, in the whole thing, he said about Nineveh being destroyed. So when after Tobit passed away, died, when young Tobias went back to Sarah's parents to live. Mm-hmm. Anyway, they go through this story just before they marry somebody, and then after they get married, everybody stays sitting, and then the couple goes out on a buggy with all their groomsmen and bridesmaids, and they go in 3 different buggies to the bride's house, and then there they have a big feast, like a big meal, a lot of tables, a lot of food, a lot of cakes, and all kinds of stuff prepared, and they all sit down and have a big wedding, and anyways, I don't know, that Tobit stuff, I never could figure out how somebody got into that, because it ain't really, but that's just what they do. That's one of their, you might say, old customs. They have a lot of customs that I don't understand quite why they would do that custom.
So do they go get a fish and
No, they don't.
And everything?
No, they don't bring the fish in, but they talk about it,
Right.
And I never could figure that out, I would think, the book of Ruth would be better, because she was faithful to Naomi. Anyways, Amish are different people. They're culture people. And I don't know, it's hard to come out of the Amish church and to think like an English person, because I still think like an Amishman. I'm an Amishman. I was like 28 when I drove my first car, and I still can't, it's just not normal for me to be English. I just can't do it.
Right.
Probably takes a couple of generations to get that all out, but I don't know.
Well, I mean, when you're raised a certain way,
right,
you think a certain way, and everything becomes like habit, it's hard to break a habit.
It is very hard.
Even the parents, even though they're not part of it and they raise their kids out of it, they still pass a lot of those traits.
Oh yeah,
down a generation, and you get, you have a lot of habits to break there, and that's all it is really, is habit.
Well, it's culture. It's a lot of culture, and I don't know. I was never. We never went to the store to buy anything. We made everything. Like, we canned all our own food and butchered all our own hogs, made our own sausage and meat, and big crocks of pickles, and our own wine. Mm-hmm. We always had wine, had orchards, always made our own wine. Now, that's one thing, like the Amish, they use wine in the communion services. Mm-hmm. They have the ordinary 2 weeks before communion. They have it twice a year, and You have to. They have ordinance, and then if you drove a tractor or touched a steering wheel or listened to music or anything like that, you had to get down on your knees and make confession, before you could go along to communion. And if it was bad enough, if you did it too many times, they would put you from church for 6 months. You couldn't have communion until the next time around.
Yeah, and you're at risk of going to hell because if you ain't taking in communion and
yeah, and then you had to walk a very straight line, because if you got in trouble again, and you just like I worked for farmers, and they'd ask me to, run their tractors and stuff, and I could do it as long as nobody saw me. But if they saw me, then I knew I was in trouble. Then if I got in trouble and they put me from church, then I had to stay real straight. I couldn't work for any farmers or anything until the next time come around, and then I got in good standing with the church again. Then I could chance it again,
Right. You could get it on that tractor and touch that steering wheel.
Oh, you couldn't touch that steering wheel. No way.
What if you put some ropes on it,
Oh, some of them do, yeah. Yeah.
Get some sticks or something,
Yeah.
Stand on the back of the tractor.
Yeah. Like the Swartz troopers down here, that's what they do. They have a tight rope to it, and they'll stand way out. But like that guy I was hauling logs to down there this past, a year ago, I was stuck, and he wouldn't get in the loader to pull me out. He had a loader there and had a steering wheel on it, but he would not get in and touch that steering wheel to pull me out. So I got him a shovel, and I told him to lean way out across the wheel and push that. I put the loader in gear. It had a hydrostatic transmission, and I told him to take that shovel and push that pedal down just a little bit with that shovel. So he agreed. He did that, and I got my truck unstuck that way.
But he wouldn't touch the steering
But he would not touch the steering wheel. He would not get in the loader. And as soon as my truck got unstuck, I locked the air brakes up and made the loader spin again, spun the loader wheels, and he left off on the shovel, and it stopped, and I jumped out and put it out of gear and hooked myself and drove the loader out of the way, and then I got out. But yeah, that's the only way you can do that. They cannot contaminate themselves,
Kind of like, it almost sounds like the Jewish people, the way they wouldn't touch certain types of
touch
meat
dead people and stuff like that. Or if a woman had her period and she was unclean, she had to go outside the camp, and put her out.
A dude, he'd have to go out with her.
Yeah.
They'd have to stay for a set amount of time until they were clean again.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
It's very much like that.
Very much that way.
If you look at their rules and stuff.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Now, there's a lot of them Amish that go down to Sarasota there. My great-grandfather, he started that Sarasota settlement down there in Sarasota, Florida. And on my mom's side, he was a Yoder. He started that settlement. Anyways, a lot of them Amish go down there. They just go down there to get away from restrictions and stuff and party a little bit, because they're always looking over their shoulder. Down there, I guess they can party a little bit. But I've heard say already that some of them old Amish preachers say they ought to go down there with a bunch of barrel staves and kick them all, whoop them all on the butt and send them home,
Right.